So here we are, and we come to Friday's lesson study, and I admit, this has been a heavy week. And the truth is, today's lesson is even more sobering. Now, why do I say that? Well, just take a look at what Sister White in Prophets and Kings has to say about sharing our faith. First, she recognizes that all of us have been called by God to do something important for God. And let's be clear here. If you are a Seventh-day Adventist Christian, you are called by God to do something for God. And what are we called to do? Well, it's two things. One, to prepare the world for the second coming of Jesus Christ. And secondly, share the gospel. Jesus saves. Now, added to this, Sister White instructs us to share our faith in the way Jesus did. Okay, how did Jesus witness to others? Well, according to Sister White, he did it up close and personal. You see, witnessing requires us to be involved in other people's lives. Think about that for a moment. How can you share with people if you're not actually around people? Witnessing requires an investment of our time, effort, and energy, and yes, even our money. Then Sister White goes on to point out that people have all sorts of excuses for not sharing their faith. We talked about some of those excuses earlier in the week. But as Sister White points out, none of our excuses actually excuse us of our responsibility to share what we know. As a matter of fact, she goes so far as to say that a refusal to share what we know is, well, that makes us unfaithful. But not all is lost. Sister White points out that God was not only determined to save the people of Nineveh, but he was determined to save his prophet. And maybe that is the whole point of sharing our faith. It's not so much that it saves us as it sanctifies us. That the path to becoming like Jesus is to work for the salvation of others, well, just like Jesus did. It requires us to be humble. It requires us to submit. It requires us to be obedient. It requires us to sacrifice and to invest in others. Ultimately, it requires us to love. Well, that was our final thoughts and nuggets for this week. Now we want you to take some time this week, well, to visit your local Adventist church and share with them some of the things you've learned about witnessing and mission. And please, don't forget to join us next week as Seth shares with us some of his thoughts and insights into next week's lesson, Motivation and Preparation for Mission. We know you won't want to miss it. Well, thank you for joining me this week. God bless, happy Sabbath to come, and enjoy your Sabbath school.